Erik Peter Carlson, and the film is Transatlantic Coffee. The film, I originally wrote it back in 2000, early 2002, which is when the film takes place, which is when it's set. So it's been quite some time. I think I don't know if it's been inspiration, but a lot of people asked, where you were inspired by the story of Transatlantic, and the only thing I can come up with is that there was a documentary I did when I was a kid, really, that it was done on grainy VHS, or actually it was high 8 stuff that I did. And it was about a guy who was recently released from a mental institution, and I followed him for a day or two. What I was thinking the documentary was going to be about originally was going to be basically just about him and how he lives, what he does during the day. And when I found out, it was more of how society looked at this individual, which was it was an eye-opening experience. So I think it was like a year later I started writing just like a narrative, not about that, but I think somewhere on a subconscious level I was inspired by a few different things from that experience. So that's the only thing I can really, when people ask me, well, where did you come up with the story? That's the only thing I can really think of is that in pieces. But I don't think you should really know where these ideas come from when you're right. Because I think if you do know, then you're probably doing something wrong. That's
I'm not a bad person. I don't think that way.
You promise?
I promise.
You're not like her?
Nothing like her.
What?
So when I was writing Transatlantic, I really wanted to make it a big, deep character study on this one character. And there's some traits in there that just came out, the character in Transatlantic, Alex Howard, it's a romance picture. I always thought it was a romance picture, but he had a loved one who he lost. So it's really a romance picture where you don't really see the romance, because it was a romance, from another time. So I found that was interesting. It was a different approach about it, rather than seeing a relationship form. This was more of a relationship that has already, been, started and then ended by the loss of her.